Charania, no doubt. East 10th Street where we play out. Here we bring the Miami crowd. Alex, the boy with the D. Step into rhythm, feel the heat. Street vibes mix it with the Latin tree. In our flow, the two worlds meet. East 10th Street boys bring the party. Bring the noise from Hialeah with some joy.
Drink water like that. Well, I'm telling you, bro. I'm focused, bro. I'm focused, man. Yeah, inside out.
You know who I am by now.
Identify as.
You know, hey. When Alex takes a shower, the dude goes for 3 hours. I mean, it's like, you know he's going to be gone for a while. You have time. Do whatever you're going to do. Go grocery shopping. Go eat dinner.
Latin spice and neon lights.
Oh, good. Happy Sunday, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to East 10th Street Boys. Straight out of Hialeah. I'm Bobby Melendez, or Bobby El Gringo. That's Alex, the boy. Well, man, we got a fun episode to talk today because, you know, we finally got the news. LeBron James signs with the Philadelphia 76ers. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk how that impacts Miami, what Miami does from here, how they continue to build a potential championship roster around Giannis. And then we also have a special guest who's the outside of the Heat fan base who could give a different perspective, an unbiased perspective, but also talk about his reaction to LeBron joining the 76ers and how that impacts the Eastern Conference and the NBA. Before we get into that, though, my brother, ¿Cómo estás, amigo?
¿Cómo andamos, hermano? Well, it's a little weird. I don't know what to do because it's noon. Like, I don't think we've ever been on at this time. So it's like, I got the sun blazing on my back. I'm like, damn, bro, it's Sunday afternoon. Like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, and there's no better, my man Russ, there's no better than our inside a baseball expert talking about basketball moves. That's how diverse we are in this network, buddy.
Well,
but I'm happy to be here, bro.
FTSN, it's like people go, oh, Finn's Talk. So there's the Dolphins. No, we're a sports network. Nope. You know, oh, you just cover football. No, we cover basketball. Oh, you just cover baseball. No, I cover everything else. Because Russ doesn't just cover baseball. He can talk basketball. He doesn't just cover baseball. He covers college sports. So
unbiasedly, right?
I will
Russ?
say, yeah. Exactly. I will say, as full disclosure, though, he is not a Heat fan. Mm-hmm. You know, every team you could hate in every sports league, he's a fan of. Baseball, the Yankees.
Of course.
Football, the Jets.
Of course.
And basketball, the Celtics. So we're just gonna hit the hay. So first off, we're grateful that Russ is gonna join us here in just a moment. And as we get into LeBron joining the 76ers and then what Miami could possibly do, what they're going to do to continue to build a potential championship roster around Giannis. But let's go ahead and let's bring Russ in here.
My man.
East 10th Street. Let's bring him to East 10th Street here.
The Russ bus.
How's it going? Thanks for having me. I know I get to talk a lot of baseball, but with the LeBron news, I don't get to talk basketball that much. So when I hit up Alex, I'm like, I was like, if you ever wanted, I didn't say this week, Alex, I love it. Smoking a cigar.
I got you, bro. I got you.
And
the good one. Hold on. Let me put it here. That's the Coiba.
Oh, no, there you go.
Straight up from La Habana. Might get arrested because they're not legal here. So,
whoopsies. You gotta watch out for the SWAT trucks, boy. Yeah. But Russ Morgan in the house, of course, our lead host on the On Deck Baseball podcast, and soon to be lead host, of course, the season 2, but it's actually, I don't know if it's season 2 or if it's going to be counted as season 1 because it's kind of revamped, which is the College Blitz kickoff Saturday mornings. Russ Morgan will be live with Q and possibly Will and some others doing our college football game day coverage here on FTSN this coming season. So I'm excited for that. But we're here today. Well, we're here to talk a lot of stuff. You know, we're talking, this is East Century Boys, but mainly here today talking about the Miami Heat, talking about the NBA. Of course, for a while now, after Miami had signed Giannis Antetokounmpo and traded for them and for Bobby Portis, the next step was let's look at LeBron. LeBron, doesn't sign with the Lakers. He's a free agent. He makes everybody wait a mile a minute. We're hearing, he may go here, he may go there. Hey, this guy's the lead horse. Wait, can the Sixers do it? Sixers do it. And he actually goes and signs with the 76ers. He puts a nice little post about Cleveland and says, Miami, I'll forever love you, but I'm going to Philly. This is my last decision. When I read that, I was like, we'll see. But until that point, he goes to the 76ers. Big reaction around the league. People who are saying, Miami's a bad fit. Then Miami's a perfect fit. And then Cleveland's a bad fit. Cleveland's a good fit. Golden State. Now it's the 76ers is a perfect fit. So I thought it'd be best to bring in, to talk about this with Alex and now with Russ. And I think it's awesome that Russ is here because he could give that other perspective, because I've heard from other people outside the Heat fan base who have a different perspective, but I'd love to hear from Russ. Russ, we were following this along. Every no matter if you're any kind of fan, Boston, he said Boston, he hated the Boston Celtics and all this one. So you had no inkling that he would go there, but obviously fans are invested in where LeBron's going to go because it's just what it is. And so before we talk about him going to the 76ers, out of the teams that we heard or that you heard, right? Golden State, Cleveland, Miami, Philly, possibly Minnesota. Which of those 4 to 5 teams were you like, hey, this would be his best fit if he was to go anywhere?
Well, it sure as hell wasn't Philadelphia. That's for sure. I didn't have that on my bingo card. I knew this was like his swan song last year, so I was like, why not just go back to Cleveland? I thought, they're right there. Yeah, they got swept, but they're right there in the East. I was thinking Cleveland, Miami would be my number 2 because of obviously the connection with Pat Riley and Spoelstra. But I was like doing other work, and then my buddy's like, you see LeBron's going to Philly, and then I had to double check. I'm like, come on, everybody's been saying like LeBron's going here, so I'm like, is this real news? So I turned on ESPN quickly, and they're not even talking about it, and it's just on like the tickers. But I did not have Philly on there. I definitely getting a little pissed on LeBron, like hearing all the. I know you remember Pete. He's a big LeBron guy, and he was all, I'm an LA guy now, big Lakers, Dodgers fan. And the minute I said something, he's like, Sixers Nation, bro. I'm like, God, you just
he's one of those guys.
Yeah, he was like, he was a Cavs fan, then he was a Heat fan, and then I'm like, dude, you're not a sport. You're just riding LeBron's jock.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, and now you're a Sixers fan. It's just like, I can't deal with the fandom. I was rewatching. It was kind of funny with the NBA. I was rewatching The Last Dance, and they got a interview with Jordan, and he's talking about playing every game. He goes, I like to play every game. These people are spending hard-earned money to see me play. Spending a lot of money comes. I like to play all, as many as I can. And nowadays, I was even thinking about it. Just like I was like, oh, God. Nowadays, guys are just like, I don't even want to go to an NBA game because I'm like, oh, I'll go and half my players will be sitting out unless I, fly to Boston. Like, I don't want to play in Orlando tonight. But I was surprised. Philadelphia is going to be good. The East has definitely got a lot stronger this year with the addition of Giannis in Miami. And then obviously, I have mixed opinions on Jaylen Brown going. I knew the relationship was probably over when he was involved in the Giannis trade and didn't get it. And they didn't get that. I have mixed opinions. I love Jaylen Brown. I think there's sometimes he's better than Tatum, but being a guy who watches a lot of Celtics basketball, Tatum really can. Brown is more a guy that has to get going early. Tatum's definitely more a guy who can create his own. And I will say, for a superstar, the guy can't dribble for shit. How many times did I see him dribble off his foot? I mean, I knew it was happening. I wish it wasn't Philadelphia. But I think it's the media's love for Jaylen Brown, and is one opinion that he's, a top 15, top 20 player, and then the people in the NBA don't really have that same opinion. But LeBron was – I thought it was fake news. I didn't think it was real news at all.
I'm going to say we talked about it on here plenty of times, but, because we discussed, like, the thing about LeBron is you can't really believe any of the leaks. And I think this proved it, more than anything, because Brian Windhorst, and Shams and anybody and their mother were trying to find anything they can to throw at the wall and say, this is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm seeing. And like Brian Windhorst was like, oh, first, there is no fit. And then he started with Miami. And then he started saying, well, actually, there is a fit. And then when the signing happened with 76ers, he's like, well, the minute he said championship, you knew that took off Miami and Golden State because they're not competing for a championship anytime soon. So, none of these guys really knew what was going to happen and what was going to go down. So you could give that credit to LeBron and Rich Paul. And, Rich Paul did a great job to trying to feed information or trying to keep people in the loop, but also tell people, like, hey, there's no real expectation here. We're just going it by ear. This is his decision. And he was really kind with Pat Riley and the Heat. And obviously, if you start reading afterwards about certain things, but it seems like with everybody, oh, well, this team thought they were in the loop and this team never thought they were in the loop. And everybody's trying to play the safe face. But during that process, when we were discussing it, Alex, we talked about Miami's fit. And, like I said, like LeBron, the only two teams that really made sense the most, if you put tiers, was Cleveland, Miami. Cleveland, because, again, you started there, you end there. Miami, there's unfinished business, but also, again, you think of Cleveland. Cleveland's no slouch. Cleveland has a decent roster. Mobley and Mitchell, and you have Harden and whatever. And I don't know what really their bench or their depth looks like, but LeBron goes there. It makes sense. There would be no criticism at all for me whatsoever. I'm like, I get it. Cleveland's your home, and it's still a decent enough roster you can compete in the East. Philadelphia's that same way, at least on the starting. The starting five, you look at the paper, that's not bad. That's a really good starting five. But you got to look behind there. You got to, Alex, we used to work at Walgreens. You face the front, you face the aisle. Okay, yeah, it looks full until you move that can of peas and oh, that's completely empty back there. It's sort of like that. But Cleveland made sense. Miami made sense, again, not just for story purposes, but also because Giannis is there, Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, Bobby Portis, Davion Mitchell. Like, people act like, oh, they don't have three-point shooting. And when people say that, and I've said this, go back and do your research. Go look at the percentages. Like, I don't know why people look at paper and they go, oh, right, the other team, like Golden State, that would have made sense had he, when he left Cleveland the first time, went to Golden State with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson after leaving Cleveland, other than going to the Lakers. But if he would have went to LA, if we went to Golden State, he's in California still. It's closer to home. It's Steph Curry. Okay. Philly is surprising because for me, people go, oh, right away, this is his best roster he ever has been a part of. Can we let them play a game? That's the first thing. Second thing is, it's not just about talent. It has to work on a psychological level. Like, you got to get along now with Jaylen Brown. You have to figure out, like, can I get along with Jaylen Brown? Can Jaylen Brown be okay? Because, obviously it didn't work in Boston. He had an issue with Jason Tatum, but you could probably see that before even hearing the story come out. But, now he gets a chance to be his own guy. Now you're going to bring in a mega personality like LeBron James. Oh, Joel Embiid. When? Where? How many games is Joel Embiid going to play? You got a young man in VJ Edgecombe. You got Tyre Maxey, who's really good. But not only the depth situation, but for me, it's all the meshing personalities. Like if you go to Miami, Coach Spo, Coach Riley. You go to Cleveland, Cleveland. Like this is your place. You've been here. You've done that. You can fit right in. People know their role. Golden State, you're friends with Steph and Draymond Green. It could work. Philly was the last in my mind because of all those other scenarios. Like everybody go, oh, Philadelphia is the automatic favorite. How many games do we expect Joel Embiid to play? How many games do we expect LeBron to possibly play? There's a lot of scenarios where I could see that imploding during the season. Like they got to be smart, keeping LeBron healthy, keeping him safe, playing a few games, but also leave. So that way they're ready for the playoffs. Like that's what they're aiming for. Just get to the playoffs. Don't be the number one seed. Don't shoot for that. Shoot for playoffs. So that way you got Embiid healthy, you got James healthy with Brown, and hopefully everybody's getting along because Embiid's a big time personality too. People forget that. So I don't know, man. I agree with Russ. Philly was really like I'm not hating on Philly. I understand it, but it was the last team on my mind because it's like there's too much extra going on. Like Philly as a market makes sense for LeBron James. Like to say he played in Philly, he played with the 76ers, Allen Iverson, he could win a championship in Philly. Like I get all that. That is an attractive proposition for a star. And someone like LeBron who can say, I won a championship in Cleveland. I won a championship in Miami. I won a championship with the Lakers. I won a championship in 70 with Philly. But I don't think it would possibly happen this year. That's why he's a player option. I think he realized like, hey, there's a lot of scenarios where this can kind of blow up, or that's what you think about year two. Is Embiid in the long-term plans? Could we see Embiid on the market for a trade where they try to get some draft pick or some other players to fit with that roster? I agree with Russ, man. I was shocked just because it's like I don't see what everybody else is seeing. And all this, what's that twisted, where people now all of a sudden they update their thing like, oh, this was the best thing. This is the best team he's ever been on. It's like, come on, stop it. But is what it is. Alex, your thoughts on my when you saw LeBron going to Philly, how that fit may look and what they could possibly do. A lot of people saying this is the favorite in the East.
Yeah, automatically they're going to become the favorites in the East just because of their starting lineup and talent-wise and name-wise, you can't argue it. Is the fit going to be a little clunky? I think so. But my reaction to LeBron, I was stunned in regards to when the decision came. You knew it was going to be on a Friday, so and it was going to be after the World Cup. But I do believe genuinely like he was torn. And like I told you off before the show, the only person I listen to any hit news is Ethan Skolnick from Friday Reason Sports. And I listen to that religiously because he is intertwined with the front office. He has connections in there. So, and he never gives up his sources. He never gives up too much information. But based on the timeline, there was belief, and according to him, that LeBron was coming. Everybody in the Heat front office believed that LeBron was coming, and something changed the last 24 hours. And it kind of goes hand in hand with what Rich Paul said, that he didn't make his decision until like 1 a.m. that Friday. You can tell he was torn because this is really the first time that he's making a decision just for himself. Like this isn't about money. This isn't about anything. And the Heat offered him more money. The Heat offer was at $8 million a year. So there was a surprising factor there where everything aligned basketball fit-wise, and not because we're Heat fans. Anybody that knows basketball can break down the rosters. This was the most seamless fit for him. In Cleveland, he would have to share the backcourt with Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, which is huge usage. In Philly, who he did choose, you have a great starting five on paper, but now you're making basically VJ Edgecombe and at times Maxey role players. That team was ascending with Maxey, with Edgecombe. They acquired Brown, where Brown goes from being arguably the first option in Boston at times, and he did have one of his best years last year, and now he's possibly a third option in this team because you're still going to play through Embiid. Now, LeBron might be able to coast a little bit. He's going to make a difference. LeBron is a cerebral player. He's a basketball player with the highest IQ. So LeBron's going to fit in. I'm pretty sure he's not going to step on anybody's toes there. And he can kind of take up a more laid back approach. Defensively, he's not what he was. Like he can play lockdown defense, maybe a quarter, but this is not I don't think LeBron at this point is going to be a 40, 45-minute type of guy. You're talking about the low 30s maybe, because you got to maintain him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Embiid and him do not play in back-to-backs. So depth is going to be they're going to win ball games. They're going to score the basketball. But at times, they're going to be in each other's spaces. So it's going to be very difficult to operate in the beginning. And then slowly but surely, they'll get a little bit more comfortable. I just don't see them being successful in a 7-game series against Miami, against New York. That's just defensive identities over there. Their only true perimeter defender is Jaylen Brown. And they really have no interior defense because Embiid can't keep up with Antetokounmpo. Embiid can't keep up with Bam. So who are you going to have guarding Bam? Jaylen? You're going to have Jaylen guarding Giannis? So they're matchup nightmares there. Now, the thing I would say from the Heat perspective here, you're embracing a new era, right? But Giannis was on board with getting LeBron. And the fact that LeBron was so close to coming again, you kind of see the writing on the wall that he understood that basketball fit-wise, this was his best option coming back to Miami. That's why they were in communications. I remember it all aligns, Bobby and Russ. When you started seeing the reports around a week and a half ago, every national media reporter started turning to Miami being his best fit. Miami being his best fit. Because in league circles, everybody started kind of getting the message. I'm like, oh, shit, he's going to Miami. He's going to Miami. So we don't know what changed. The only moment I know that Philly, when I saw Bob Myers in the podcast with Max Kellerman and Rich Paul, and Bob Myers is the de facto like president of basketball ops over there in Philly, and also Mike Gandy is the vice president of basketball operations, and he played basketball in Cleveland. He knows LeBron well. Maxey's a clutch client, so he has a strong relation with Tyrese Maxey. And the moment they traded for Jaylen Brown, that's when the eyes open. That's when Philly became a possibility. So technically, all of this is Boston's fault, Russ. Boston did this to all of us. Boston did this to themselves in their own division. They did it to us. So the fact that they wanted to get rid of Jaylen Brown, think about that. You just gave Philadelphia ammunition to acquire LeBron James at a veteran minimum. This is unseen. Like, you don't get players like this even at 41, 42. So in that aspect, I'm also realistic. And this is, like I said, of course I wanted LeBron to come here. I thought this was the perfect fit for him. But is it also a cool concept of starting a Giannis build with Bam and a clean slate without an older, even though it's LeBron James, with a younger core, and you're building that up? Absolutely. And I know you see in the comments, now we start getting the conversation of Steph Curry. Steph Curry is going to be a free agent if he doesn't sign an extension. The Lacob, the owner, is rumored to kind of want to start building the team after. So expect Draymond Green to sign a 1-year deal for the money he gave up, maybe a little bit more. And they have Jimmy on an expiring deal. Golden State's going to go young. Is Steph Curry a possibility next year when Miami has a cap? Yes, he is. If he doesn't sign the extension, that's going to be the rumor. So this is just starting, man. There's many options this offseason. Was I stunned by the news? Absolutely, because I really believed that it was a lock that LeBron was coming. The longer it took to make a decision and the more the national media started aligning with Miami, I'm like, holy shit, this is true. And then after the fact, you see the reports that he was in communication with Spo, with the Heat front office, and the Heat front office themselves believed until the day before that he was coming. So something changed. I don't know what changed. Maybe we'll find out in a few weeks, but I expect by tomorrow, the rest of free agents is going to start picking up, and a lot of players are going to start picking their destinations.
I will say I was reverse. I was the opposite. When I started seeing, Heat are the favorites, and people started saying all this, and Riley on Lepetard, I started going, oh shit, oh shoot, this is not going to go that way. But it is what it is. Again, I will, full disclosure, Heat are better with a LeBron than they would be without. But again, I've said this when people are like, oh, we shouldn't be waiting on LeBron. We're missing out. No, you wait on someone like LeBron. You got Giannis. You're good. It's the same thing as for a team like Boston, right? You wait on because you got Tatum already. You got your guy. You're adding to. The Giannis is your guy. We got our home run hit. But I like something that Russ brought up right before your point, Alex, was that right now with the East, I mean, Jaylen Brown and LeBron and Philly, Toronto with Kawhi Leonard once that deal is done, Miami with Bam and Giannis and whatever they do there. Boston
Indiana.
still with Tatum. Indiana with
Indiana's coming
Halliburton coming back.
Yeah.
Tatum is going to have to show, like, hey, he could be the guy. Now you don't have to rely on Jaylen Brown. Like, so, regulars, like, the East has never, the NBA in general, but we got New York having to prove, like, hey,
Bro,
they're
Hawks.
not a flash in the pan.
Hawks. You still got
Atlanta. I mean,
Magic. There's
Orlando.
there's,
Like, the East is going to be fun next
Yeah,
year,
man.
man. The NBA is going to be a lot of fun to watch next year as a basketball fan, not just a singer. Like, if you're like, oh, Boston fan, no, like a basketball fan, if you love basketball, tune into the NBA next year. Like, don't be one of these fans that, you follow it on Twitter and you're like, oh, I'm going to wait until my team. No, this is going to be a year where you're like, oh, you got to watch Boston, Philly next year. You got to watch Miami and LA. What is the Lakers going to do now that LeBron's gone? Luka's team, and it's the all-white Lakers. What are you going to do? Like, you got to watch San Antonio. How did they respond after losing in the finals? New York, is New York the Mecca, or is it going to fall back down? Like, it is so much fun. The projection of what the NBA is going to be next year, Russ. You're looking at this like Halliburton, like Indiana's coming back. Halliburton's coming back. Like, my goodness, dude! Like, what a year to be a basketball fan, man.
In the midst of about a month and maybe a month, the East went from, after the Knicks won, because everybody, I mean, you turn on any sports show now and it's, the Sixers, it's the Heat. I'm like, nobody talks about the Knicks just won the championship and they beat the Spurs pretty easily. I mean, it wasn't really a good series. They handled the Spurs pretty easily. And nobody's talking about the Knicks. I'm like, they're minus Mitchell Robinson. They're bringing back the same core. But the East went from, it wasn't very strong last year to now it's going to be very, very strong, very interesting, just as a pure basketball fan, not as a guy, I love watching the Celtics, but just watching basketball in general. It's going to be fun to watch with how, because I even told Alex, I'm sorry, Jaylen Brown, you're not the number one before LeBron in Philadelphia. The number one is Tyrann Maxey. He is the best player on that team, hands down. No, I'm sorry, he's the best player on that team. And obviously, if Embiid, but we all know the issues with Embiid. You might get, I would say, 50 to 55 games from him. You would take that as a win. But Maxey is the best player on that team. It's not Jaylen Brown. But the East is going to be fun with the Knicks. See if they can come back with Giannis in Miami. Obviously now with Philadelphia, see what Tatum does, and Hugo Gonzalez is definitely going to have a big year, especially if you don't want to trade him for Giannis.
He better have a huge year, bro. He better be like comeback player of the year.
I get it. So I even talked to Alex, when we were texting on the LeBron stuff.
Yeah.
And is in your opinion, is Jaylen Brown, because he's up for an extension in the next couple of weeks, do you think Jaylen Brown is worth $67 million a year? Because that's what Boston was looking at, obviously paying Tatum that. Do you think Brown is worth $67 million a year? Because that's what his extension is going to be.
Alex.
I believe certain players are your max players. You're thinking about like the Joker. You're thinking about Giannis. You're thinking about LeBron in his prime. I don't believe Jaylen Brown is worth 67. They're going to give him the contract. Realistically, with the whole, Jaylen Brown could be a $50 million player, 45, 50 million. But I can't argue against him coming out of possibly one of his best statistical years. I understand people are talking about the metrics and all that, but he did lead his team to a 50-plus win season last year, even though the East, a lot of teams were tanking. So a lot of those wins are like watered down. Realistically, Boston should have won maybe 44, 45 games at most. So I can't argue that. Is his stock going to take a hit a little bit this year? Absolutely. Is Edgecombe, for example, his rise? Edgecombe is going to be a star. I know Maxey right now is the best player, but the best overall player in that team, and people are going to see a few years from now, is VJ Edgecombe, man. That guy is lights out, both on both ends of the floor. But like I said, is Brown worth a full 67? No, I'd probably try to give him 50. But unfortunately, you trade for him, you're going to continue to build around him and Maxey and Edgecombe and beat. And I mean, all these players are eligible. Embiid, I think, is eligible for another extension in the coming years because Embiid's extension was very like I'm not saying bonus based, but a lot of like game restriction based. So the Philadelphia was protected when they gave him that extension. But unfortunately, man, is the nature of that where you're playing. Boston didn't want to do it because they felt that they couldn't pay two wings $60+ million because Tatum's extension's up again. But is Jaylen Brown the highest paid player right now in the NBA?
Not right now.
Not right now?
He would right. I think right now he's at 55.
Yeah.
But he's still got 2 years after this.
Yeah.
But he's up for the extension, which obviously Philadelphia will give him because you want to make him happy. I get it. It was really tough when I saw the Philadelphia news. I'm like, okay, take Paul George, give me VJ, and I'm with Alex. VJ Edgecombe is a dude. I'm like, okay,
they asked for him.
I'll deal with that. And then I see it. I'm like, oh, they're just. And I think Tatum's going to be a different player this year because he definitely really had to change his game where Brown wasn't. You had to get Brown going right off the bat, and then he'd play really good. Tatum could dish it out, and then Tatum's a superstar where he can get his when he wants it. But it was a surprising year because obviously it was supposed to be a down year with the Achilles injury for Tatum that he played so good, but the comments on this was my favorite year I've ever played basketball. That doesn't fly in Boston where you got bounced in the first round. That's something you don't say. But even talking to my brothers, worked for Fox Sports, NBA insider for the Clippers. He's like, once they offered him for Giannis, it was probably over. And I mean, it'll be interesting with Giannis in Miami. See what happens with his injury if he can stay healthy. But I mean, when he's fully healthy, there's not too many guys who can match up with him just because of his length and athleticism. But I'm with you. The East has got a lot better. I'm unbelievable. And like both you said, Indiana's getting Halliburton back, and they made the finals. 2 years removed from making the finals. So it's gonna be very competitive. Great just to watch it as just a pure basketball fan, person who just loves watching basketball. It's gonna be very exciting. I don't know if Miami this year. I think a team needs a year with Miami to get going, unless you're really like the Celtics and when they won in 2008, where you add Garnett and Allen, guys who are around the league for a long time. I would even like we saw Miami's first run, they didn't win right off the bat. They needed that full year. So I think obviously they're going to be a top 5 team in the East, but I don't see them winning a title this year. But if you get another year of the core, Giannis stays healthy, Bam, obviously the defense is going to be great. I've been seeing the Klay Thompson news in Miami. That'd be a very good fit because, I mean, he brings another level of defensive intensity too, and gives you some wing and can hit 3-pointers. But I think they need a full year of basketball, especially with a younger core outside of Bam and Giannis to just gel. And obviously freeing up money next year will help. But I'm excited. The East is going to be great. I also what are we, and this is obviously a problem with, I want to ask both of you guys, we saw with Jaylen Brown, but with the second apron, and we see what Victor Wembanyama just took. Do you think that's a problem now? Because now you're seeing, Wembanyama is going to be the face. If he's not the face of the NBA, he's going to be the face of the NBA. Is that becoming an issue now? This guy's taking less money because he wants to help his team. Do we see that change, Alex or Bobby?
I believe it's a precedent that he said, because if you want to maintain your team on a competitive nature, you're going to have a few guys sacrifice a little bit. If you notice, no team is going to be above the second apron, which was the design of it this year, because they wanted to, the punitive penalties, not in the monetary part or in the taxes, is the punitive penalties of what it limits you, what you can do within the buyout market, your biennial exceptions, your mid-level exceptions. So I do believe eventually the NBA might amend the rules a little bit where you can kind of go over the cap without penalty to retain drafted talent, because it is true. What you're doing is at times you're penalizing teams for drafting well and extending all their guys. Like OKC has had to do all these moves and trade a lot of their players that were drafted and developed because they cannot pay them all. So I do believe eventually the NBA might make an amends where if a team wants to go over a second apron, as long as it's to retain one of their players or a couple of their players, that they can do so. Because I understand you're managing a team, and for example, which is insane, by the way, the fact that from the perspective of Miami Heat, I look at the trade for Giannis of, I had to extend Tyler Hero, right? I have to now extend Jaquez. I have to extend a bunch of these players that I'm trading. So eventually I'm just extending Giannis. So Giannis takes up what? He's going to take up like $60 million. I was going to pay that to two players maybe with Hero and Jaquez. So now I'm maximizing my roster per se because I have other possibilities around my roster. But if I drafted all these guys and I want to extend all of them, I'm going to have to start sacrificing like OKC did, unless if my players work with me, which is what Wembanyama, he didn't give up a crazy amount. People here talking about like, oh my God, he sacrificed so much. Realistically, I understand the precedents that it sets because you don't want anybody giving up money for the owners, because the only perspective of this, the lens of this, the vantage point is you're helping the owners pay less. But it's not about the money. I don't think the owners care about paying the tax if it's a reasonable amount. What it does from a basketball perspective in your front office is it limits you what you can do to build your team. That's the real ramification. The money some owners will pay for. But, I mean, you got to be realistic here. It's a business. OKC just saved, I think, over $290 million. No franchise, no business is going to go on the negative in that regards just to keep a team together when you can still be competitive other ways. So I do believe guys will sacrifice depending on contracts, depending on age. But I also believe the NBA might run into a problem in the near future where they need to amend the CBA, or for the next CBA is where they allow teams to go over cap or over the aprons in order to re-sign their guys without penalty. Not just signing outside free agents or players that you acquire via trade and extend. I believe they have to be a drafted player and an extended player from the time he's drafted. So a continuous 5, 6, 7 years there. So, but it's gonna be interesting because at the end of the day, a lot of these players, their major income sometimes is endorsements. Like Wemby probably makes more money off endorsements than he does from the NBA. We know LeBron does. We know Curry does. So NBA is almost like a secondary salary. But you don't want to set a precedence where you're giving up money because what happens to the next player? What happens to a player in 10 years? And unfortunately, the market is dictated by what other players sign for, by what other players give up. So I always use the example of Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero's next extension is not going to be like the one he signed because his breed is a dying breed, and the market also has a lot to do with it. Next year, we're going to see a big market with free agents that a lot of teams are going to miss out on what they believe are their key free agents, and there's going to be a lot of money to go around.
So great points from the both of you, and I right there, Sarah Blonde 9480. I agree with you. The NBA needs to allow teams who invested in player to exceed the cap to sign them instead of losing them. It's true. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. If you're trying to keep a guy that you've drafted, that you've invested in, they shouldn't penalize you. The hard cap and the tax, whatever the tax penalties were created for the big threes, right? You know, what Miami did, what Boston did was bringing those guys in and getting everybody and, you know, becoming a super team. So it's like the NBA is trying to stop that. But either way, talking about Miami and where they could go from here and to get Russ's perspective as well. But obviously now that Miami has learned of LeBron's decision and whatever truth may be, was he really going to come here? If he wasn't, we'll never know because everybody's going to say something. I mean, right, you know, Rich Paul said that he thought it was Miami. Then he came out and go, oh, it was between Golden State and Philly. So it is what it is. Like I told Alex, I'm cool with it. This is what we texted when we talked about it. I'm cool with it. Now we move on. That's the whole point. Where, like, you know, I said it. Yes. Did I want LeBron in Miami? Absolutely, I did. You're better with LeBron than you are without him. But now that he's chosen to go to Philly, we'll see where it goes from there. Russ brings up great points because, you know, Jaylen Brown and Philly, so much in the East, these guys are going to have to answer something. You know, the Knicks are going to have to answer. Could they still be that team? Could they be the championship team that they were? And people are kind of sleeping on them now. They're kind of ignoring them now because of all the noise that's happening in the East. So they're going to have to make noise again when it's time. Jaylen Brown's going to have to prove that he could play without Jason Tatum, that the Boston Celtics made a mistake by letting him go. You know, but can he do that now that he has to play with LeBron and play with all that expectations? You know, it's different when you're the guy and it's like, okay, could he lift this team up? Now the team's going to be great. If the team's great, with him, they're going to say, oh, man, that's because of Jaylen Brown. If the team's great now, it's, oh, is it really Jaylen Brown or LeBron and everything else? And then, of course, Jason Tatum's have to prove that he could be the guy now without Jason Tatum. So a lot of noise in the East. But Miami has to move forward now. Miami has to decide what they're going to do and how they're going to do it in regards of continuing to build a roster around Giannis to compete this year. You know, Russ, you bring up a good point, right? A lot of people say, I think most people agree with it. Right now, on paper, Miami is a competitive roster. They'll probably be fifth seed, up between 5 and 1, or whatever. But there are a lot of fans outside of the Heat that say, hey, more than likely, you know, this might take them a year or two. This might take them a season. They have to do, you know, go through a season. Then next year, that's when everything's really going to go off the rails and Miami's going to be a competitive or going to be in that championship conversation. But, you know, for a Heat fan, and speaking as a Heat fan, I'd say, you know, without Adebayo and these guys, you know, he's had that experience. They've been in this. Giannis is a champion. You know, he's been in the playoffs. He's played in championships. Bam has played in the finals. He's played in plenty of playoff games. Andrew Wiggins, Bobby Porter, like these are guys who are experienced guys in this league that I think the main part would be during the season. The same thing with Philly. And these guys are, when they're new together, Giannis and Bobby being the two main ones with Tim Hardaway. So take them a little bit to kind of get used to each other, gel with each other. It's when that second half of the season is really going to see, hey, how are these guys going to go for the rest of the year? But if you look at the roster currently, of course, starting with the Greek Freak, you got Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, Bobby Portis, Davion Mitchell, who people continue to sleep on, Tim Hardaway Jr. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Change of scenery. We got a storm coming here, so
there's a storm. Oh.
Yeah. Get a little too hot.
But Tim Hardaway Jr., Jovic, who is having a strong season outside, you know, international ball. Fatesio, Pele Larson, Drew Smith, Gardner, the rookie Conwell, who looked really good in Summer League, Golden, and Donaldson, who, you know, you can take for whatever it is. But, you know, again, when I look at that roster, especially those first guys there, that group, you know, with Pele Larson, who people forget, you know, him going into, you know, what he's going to be. I'm not hating on that roster. I said it already, Alex. We talked about this before, LeBron. Like, I like where this roster is currently, but you still have to add. So what are the Heat updates? According to Barry Jackson, they are finding a way, like their main target right now is Klay Thompson, whether via a trade or a buyout. Like they want to bring in Klay Thompson. Now, is Klay Thompson one of the Splash Brothers of old? Is that the same guy? No, he's not. But it's what he can do for you. It's what he could do for Giannis and Bam Adebayo, spacing the floor, get the threat three, and also the experience he brings from the playoffs. You know, he's obviously many championships and the playoffs and what he could do for you. So I understand him being a priority. The Heat have had conversations with DeMar DeRozan and Bradley Beal, which is obvious. But again, their priority is Klay Thompson right now. And they would like to add another big guy. They want to add another big man. Sham says Miami Heat will shift their focus to DeMar DeRozan, Bradley Beal, and Klay Thompson after missing on LeBron. Of course, plan B, Klay Thompson, Bradley, Russell Westbrook, now that LeBron is not on the team, and I love DeMar DeRozan. So, Alex, you know, looking at these options, and I want to hear from Russ right after you. So, Russ, be ready to follow up there. But just, you know, you're looking at the guys that are as they move on from LeBron James, who are the guys that you're like, man, for sure, like I want to bring in Klay or DeMar or Brett. Like, who are those guys that you would love to add to this roster that could, you know, not make them just contenders in the East or playoff, you know, in the seeding, but for someone like Russ to go, okay, maybe they could actually compete for an NBA championship this season.
Well, man, look, no matter what, I think next year we're going to be better suited roster-wise, capacity with salary cap space and Andrew Wiggins' extension kicking in at a lower rate. We're going to be way more competitive in the free agent market next year. Now, this year, I do believe we're going to be major players in the buyout market, starting with a Klay Thompson. We're not going to trade for Klay Thompson. The Dallas is trying to move him. There's no incentive for us to trade him because it's an expiring deal, unless we wanted to move. A lot of people are talking about Jovic. Miami's not going to trade Jovic and just a second round just to get Thompson. What Thompson will do is approach Dallas. You know, they'll try to negotiate a buyout. Dallas is over 16 guaranteed contracts. They're going to go younger. They're going to keep Kyrie, but they're going to buy out Thompson. If Thompson comes and approaches them and is willing to give up a significant portion of money, which is why you haven't seen the Heat sign anybody yet, Miami has still the $8 million available. So whatever money he gives up in order to secure that buyout, he's making what, 17 million? Let's say he gives up 4 million or 5 million. He'll make that up when he signs with another team. So that's priority number one, realistic priority number one. To me, one of the top priorities, because it's a situational thing for Sacramento, because they do want to sign Jonathan Kuminga and they need the space to sign him in order to activate the mid-level, is Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is going to be very tricky because he's 31. So that might not be a buyout situation. Zach LaVine might be a next year situation, depending on the circumstances. But I don't foresee him being bought out. Sacramento can buy him out, but it says a precedence where you are a 30-year-old, still kind of semi in your prime, even though it's in the later stages of your prime, but you're buying out a player that's making $40-something million. This isn't a situation where Bradley Beal, where you're going to wave and stretch him. You're just outright buying him out. But if Zach LaVine somehow becomes available, that jumps your priority list, even with Klay Thompson. Now, can we get Zach LaVine and Klay Thompson? Absolutely. The realistic possibilities after that, I know they've mentioned Russell. I don't think that's a real priority right now. They've probably mentioned Nick Richards. There's probably other centers out there that they might look into, because you can still swap out your two ways. I don't think Trey Donaldson is going anywhere. Golden might be moved. He already had his guaranteed money, so they might remove his two-way and give it to somebody else, because he's going to be a very limited center either way, even though he's made strides. I don't see him ever cracking the rotation realistically, only in spot-up minutes. But then you're looking at DeMar DeRozan, and then you're picking between him and Bradley Beal. Remember, I generally don't think, I know a lot of people have said this, we can go full 15 roster, but I don't think they're going to fill up that last roster spot, because they might wait for that roster spot, a buyout candidate in season. You know, that's always an option with these teams. Realistically, you can operate, legally you can operate with 14 players, so you're fine. But I do believe DeMar gives you an added playmaker in the mid-range area once coming off the bench unit. Because if you sign Klay, you can slide Klay right now into the starting two, you know? Because I could even make an argument, a crazy argument, where you could even start Conwell. But you want Conwell like a spark plug off the bench. He might not be a rotational player right off the bat, but Conwell will be cracking the rotation this year, man. He's just that gifted. And then you got Pellet coming off the bench. You got Jovic. You got Portis. You got DeRozan coming off the bench. You know Drew Smith is going to get some minutes eventually. He's always going to crack that. Your debate is whether you start Tim Hardaway Jr. or not. If you sign Klay, I believe you start Klay and you bring Timmy off the bench because that's a dynamic there scorer. And if you do that, then you got possibly Tim Hardaway Jr., DeMar DeRozan, Pelle Larson, Niko Jovic, and Portis off the bench, with Jovic being your de facto point guard there and running your offense for you. So you got many scenarios here. But I don't expect Miami to make any signing until the Klay Thompson situation is cleared up. So you're probably already starting hearing rumors of Klay approaching Dallas's front office, trying to negotiate a buyout. It all comes down to how much money he's willing to give up. And when you've reached a certain status in the NBA and you've made a certain amount of money, to get out of a bad situation, you're willing to give up a little bit more just to secure your exit out of there, to land in a very favorable situation. Because you say Klay is limited defensively. People forget Klay was elite defensively for a while. He's limited now, but you don't need him to play defense. It'll be decent if you can guard somebody face up, but you got Wiggins, Adebayo, and Giannis to protect you right there. And then you're going to be playing with Davion Mitchell, who's going to be the point of attack defender. So you're fine. Your role is legit. Just set up, corner, wings, and just shoot the shit out of the basketball. And another one, before I give it to you, Russ, they did a graphic side by side of the shooting percentages of Philadelphia. And once again, the national media is still talking shit about the Heat shooting. Then went side by side with Philly, and Miami shot better than every single player in their starting lineup. Our starting unit shot better than every player from three-point range. So national media members, stop being lazy, bro, when you're trying to say these things and just repeating what people
not
hear
just
over
national,
and over.
not just national, boy.
That's true.
I'll tell you,
Local as
trust
well.
me, I've heard it
Local
all.
as well.
That's some dumbass. I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, I agree with the point. I mean, I think Klay's a great fit. Obviously, he's not the same Klay Thompson of the Splash Brothers with the Warriors when they were running the NBA. And I know, yes, he's lost his step defensively, but you're looking at that starting unit. He's not going to have to cover the 1 or the 2 guy. You're going to put him on the 3-4 guy. He's not going to be defensively. You're not going to have to shut down your number 1 every game. So I think that's a great fit. He brings great championship and playoff pedigree that the Heat need. I mean, that I think it would be a great fit. I would move to DeRozan if you didn't get Klay. But also looking at the buyout market, and especially great for the Heat because they are limited cap space-wise this year. If he gets the buyout, you can give him less because he's making money on that buyout, which helps the team. You're giving maybe you give him 7 to 8 million, but he's making 17. So I'm like, oh, he's up to 25 this year, something like that. I'm not a math teacher. I'm a history teacher. So
do you remember, Russ, whenever they do that, in order to buy out, the player has to give up money. Yeah. But they could do that. What you just mentioned is perfect because let's say he's making 17, right? To secure his buyout, he gives up 4. We give him 4. He makes the same salary, and we still got 4 to give to DeRozan, to give to Bradley Beal, or we could divide it and get 2 minimums. So that right there, the math can work. It just depends on how much he's willing to give up to secure that buyout.
Bradley Beal is an enigma to me from this guy when he left, got traded from Washington to Phoenix, can't stay healthy. Do you want him to bring him on the roster? That he's a big question mark when you have Giannis, who when healthy is one of the best players in the NBA. But he's got a little question mark too. Bradley Beal, when's the last time we've really seen him play meaningful basketball?
Great point.
Do you want to bring him in? I would go with DeMar. Westbrook's exciting. He's fun to watch. He will bring people to the arena to watch every night. I hate and love Russell Westbrook. He bugs the crap out of me, but his intensity that he never takes a play off. He plays full tilt all the time. You really appreciate that. But I still think Klay would be a great fit, not having to be the guy defensively he was when he was, in Golden State. I think that'd be a great fit, but obviously you're not going to give up a player Miami can't really afford to give up players that right now with their roster, I don't think. And you're not going to give up a pick for Klay Thompson. So you're definitely waiting out that buyout that will happen. But I think that'd be a great fit because he can still shoot it. He can still shoot, and I know what everybody's saying, they don't have the outside shooting. You get Klay Thompson, that gives you outside shooting for sure.
No, I like that. And first, I want to shout out for everybody who's tuning in right now. Appreciate you all joining us live wherever you're watching from. You're watching East 10th Street Boys noon Sunday edition here on FTSN with Alex the Boy, Bobby the Gringo, and Russ Morgan in the house, talking NBA, LeBron going to Philly, and how to Miami building a championship roster around Giannis. And it is sort of shout out, though, some of the people in the comments. We got Cap for Life. We got Miss Fins. We got 305 Sports. We got an all-star crew back there. We got Miami Sports 72. You got Sarok. You got the SG, who says Alex had a dedicated altar in his house and dedicated prayer times for LeBron. And you got Uncle Joey in the house. Great to see you, Uncle Joey. Fins TV, Fins Sammy. Great to see you. 305 Sports says Bradley Beal would have been great 8 years ago. I agree.
Finn Sammy, big day for Finn Sammy. Who's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame today? Carlos Beltran, number 6 Puerto Rican, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame today.
There you go. Hopefully Sammy got some power. He keeps losing power over there. And Alex, it's kind of rude, to be honest with you. Like, as I talk and I see you texting, it's kind of a pricky move from a prick. You know what I'm saying? Like
I was actually sending you a message. So you could just read it out loud if you want. It's a lovely message.
That was pretty fast. Was that your response to what I just said, or was
exactly?
Oh, damn! That was pretty quick. If you have that text on speed dial, I have
always. I have it
brother.
saved.
It's a draft.
It's a draft. It's just random. I random moments sent to Bobby.
That was pretty quick, you piece of dog. But anyway, I will just say, as we wait, again, I agree. I think Klay Thompson should be a priority. I agree. Like, I'm not trading for him. I know. I saw someone say Jovic in the second round, but look. Jovic right now, I'm keeping him. I think we could afford to wait for Klay Thompson, and I think it would be great if he comes now. If during the offseason, perfect, that's better. But we could wait till he's a buyout candidate during the season. If you're talking between Bradley Beal and DeMar DeRozan, give me DeMar DeRozan. Beal again, I agree. If Beal signs, okay, fine, he's a part of that rotation. We'll see, but I agree with Russ. I agree with Will of 305 Sports now. It's like that would have been better 8 years ago, but you can't rely on him. You can't. This is not somebody who's going to make a difference. He's not going to move the needle. This team right now is going to be a competitive team in the East, and this is a strong East. But this team right now could compete in the East. But if you add a Klay Thompson, I think that moves the needle a little bit, just because now he gives you that extra shooting, gives you a veteran presence, and he's going to help Giannis and Bam. By spacing the floor. DeMar DeRozan, I think, could move the needle a little bit. I think DeMar DeRozan adds a factor to it. So if it's between Klay, DeMar, give me one of those guys, and then a big, right? Alex, you brought up a couple names, Nick Richards, etc. I think that's important as well. But I will say, no matter what, this Eastern Conference, this NBA season that's coming up, it's just going to be exciting, man. Let me update this very quick because we're going to get into some other stuff now. We're going to talk,
Bobby. As you're transitioning, man, let me ask Russ a question.
I'm not, I'm happy. Oh,
okay. What you identify? What do you identify? I love it. Russ, man. We haven't had a chance to talk. Okay, I know young teams go through this, but what's going on with my Marlins? Is this just a streaky? Because now it's just at the psychological level. We're in an 11-game losing streak. The way we ended the first half of the season, going into the All-Star break, I'm like, I don't like this coming off the second half, man. And we lost a few games before, and I'm like, oh, shit. 2 seconds. Gotcha. I really hope. Yeah, go ahead.
They played good yesterday.
They did?
Yuri had a good pitch, pitched good. They're not hitting. You really need Stowers is 206 right now. You really need Stowers to pick it up. even Otto Lopez is starting to hit a little
To cool off a little bit.
And I'm going to ask, when you're talking Marlins, I know you're going to be on Wednesday for our trade deadline special. Will be fun. So I'll save that for Wednesday for you. But when we get Bobby back, I'm going to ask him a question because, I mean, going into the All-Star break, I mean, is this team fully in the wild card, right there in the third slot, moving in, actually getting close to, narrowing the gap between Philly and Atlanta. And now, 11 game, they're 2.5, 3 games back of that third wild card spot. But Bobby, with this, and like I said, I'm going to ask Alex this on Wednesday, and I know I'm really excited because even Bobby's texting me about baseball now. So I'm excited. He's tuning in, and I hope the momentum goes. With this 11-game losing streak with the Marlins and the trade deadline, looming, and now they're 1 game under 500. Are you thinking about shipping off maybe a Sandy Alcantara, trying to get some pieces, or full board, let's go? It's just, we're going through leaps and valleys with a younger team. What's your opinion?
You're asking me?
Yeah,
Sorry, I just got back. Okay.
It's all good, yeah.
No. I heard the Bobby part and then I heard the second, so I just want to make sure. So, man, that's a great question. First of all, I will say it was funny. Alex and I were texting during one of these games during the win streak, and Alex was there, and even from here, the vibe is fun, man. I mean, I know they're on 11-game losing streak, and that sucks. And I think they're 52 and 53 now. They got a game against who they got today. They got is it the Giants? Am I wrong? San Diego Padres. Okay, thank you. So they're 52 and 53. They've gone 11 straight losing streak. I can understand the idea of saying like selling off, and Alcantara Sherman, the owner, said
Bruce Sherman, yeah.
He has said that this is a guy we want to build around. This is a guy. So I would find it strange, not strange, but I'd be surprising if he turned around real quick and said, "Okay, no, let's go ahead and move him." But I will say this: I think, I wouldn't hate. I still think this team could turn it around and do well this year, and because I've seen enough to say like Otto Lopez, Sonoha, Stowers, and there's enough playmakers here that could make a run. I think they need to add to the pitching more than anything, because there's so much time where it's like, it's so, how do I say this, Alex? The words with it's not unbalanced. Like it's crap. It's not consistent.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like they, it's just like, it's such a hot streak. Like Max Mayer, it's a hot streak, cold streak. I mean, he could do really good. And all of a sudden he laid in, and there's a full, bases loaded, and we're, so, the point of being like, obviously Sandy being our main attraction, being the most valued piece to possibly trade. I understand that logic. And and honestly, I'm kind of indifferent about it. Like, I would want to keep Sandy. I think Sandy's just going to get better. I think he's your main attraction. And, you want to build. I think I would rather build with him, like from the pitching, like build with him and add more pieces. But to me, I think this team is right there where Russ could be on the point where it's like you move Sandy, get a couple extra pieces, and kind of go from there. Like, I don't know. I just based off what Bruce Sherman said, I don't know if Sandy's going to get moved, but I could see them. I'd rather them be buyers, at the honest way. I'd rather see make a move for somebody rather than trade off pieces.
I think, and baseball's not like, as we saw with Boston was 14 and a half games back of first place in the East, and they went on a 15-game winning streak, and now they're solely in the third spot. Baseball moves really quick.
Yes,
It's
a lot of games.
a lot of 162. We're almost in August and September. You're in the dog days, but so it can move quick. I mean, Jacob Marcy is definitely in his second year slump. He really hasn't picked it up like we saw last year, even though he is still a rookie. He is technically still a rookie because you need like 145 games to get out of there, which he doesn't have. I wouldn't, it's the interesting thing with Sandy is because I'm of the assumption Tarek Skubal does not get traded. And if you end up trading Sandy Alcantara, he would be probably the number one pitcher on the market, and you could get a big return. But like I've said to Bobby, and obviously when I went down to Miami and met the one person I met from FTSN family, you know, and kind of threw it back at Bobby, because Bobby said Alex he won't meet, you know, he won't meet you. And we went out for a great Cuban dinner and talked sports and had a great time. And I got a little, you know, more local feel, which I've always said, don't give me the touristy crap when I go somewhere new. Give me the local feel when I go somewhere. I'm like, I don't need to just go to Brickell. I'm like, give me something local. So, you know, it was great. But as you saw during the WBC, the fans are there. If they're selling off these guys, and baseball can turn around like this. You know, we've seen, obviously it's different in the last couple of years with the Dodgers, but a lot of wild card teams have won World Series and they get hot at the right time. Baseball's not like football or basketball. It's how, if you're hot at the right time, you can change everything. So I think they have the pieces. I still think they need some bullpen pieces. Maybe you add a third baseman to make, because if Sanoha is your one guy coming off the bench, I don't think he's a starting third baseman, but he is definitely a guy.
I love saying that name, Sanoha. When he does something, I just love saying it, Sanoha.
He's a spark plug. He brings great energy. He's fun, also, man. You know, he fits the mold of Miami. He's Latin. You know, Venezuelan. That's definitely the feel you should get. He's
I don't like the way you say that, Russ.
I don't like the way you said that.
I like the way you said that.
Latin.
You gotta
say it like
Latino.
that for
Okay, practice with me, Russ. Latino. He's Latino. There you go. There you go. Latin or like Hispanic. It's like whoa.
He fits Miami. I'm like, player. And he's like, he's Latin. It's like,
he fits the mold. Russ. Hey, don't get me wrong. Like, I went to that Venezuela game and I fell in, not just like my head. I might have got whiplash at that game because my head was like turning around left and right. But like just the love of baseball was, I mean, it was at 12 o'clock on a Friday. So I'm like, do these people go to work? And they're all out there just like, I'm like, and then I turn on a Marlins game and there's 6,000 people. I'm like, okay, they're here. I've spoke to Alex. I'm like, you've got some momentum going with this team. Yes, it's young, and luckily with the Marlins, they need these young guys. They're letting them break out of their slumps. You know,
they are,
which young players need. But the baseball fan is there. Baseball fans are there, and like Alex has said, your ownership with the Marlins from past is definitely kind of let down the fan base with, hey, we win, we sell off. We win, we sell off. You know, I think Sandy's your biggest piece where he could get you a lot back. But I'm like, you've got new ownership. Was it Peter Bendix, I think, is your GM, correct?
Yeah, president. Their GM is Gabe Kapler. Yeah, he's president of baseball.
I'm like, don't sell off. I mean, I think you got good momentum going.
Yeah, I'd rather be buyers.
Young players. You've got a lot of good energy. The baseball community is there. And like Alex said, they've failed them. I think they need to build that faith back up. And if they do trade Sandy, it might, hurt some fans and say, why am I a Marlins fan? Again, so I mean, I think just go for it. They can turn it around quick. They've got Otto Lopez, probably one of the best shortstops in baseball.
He's so good. He is. He makes it look easy, dude. It's crazy.
He makes it look easy. Is unbelievable. I think
clutch.
You got the middle of your infield secure. You can lock them down.
And you're seeing that. And I've spoke with Alex like this. Lock them up now. Lock them up now. When they're still have control, where once they start getting closer to free agency, they're not going to take those shorter term deals to stay. Lock up Stowers, lock up yes, you're going to pay more, and it's a small market, which I never understand because Miami's the amount of people moving to Florida. I mean, Miami's a large market, but it's always considered a small market. Lock them up now. Lock up Stowers. Lock up Otto Lopez and Xavier Edwards, because you'll get them. You see some of these younger guys, they take less money.
Yeah.
And you can get 8 for 120, 8 for 160, but that's a win. No, don't get Matt Chapman. Don't get Matt Chapman. He's got like $100 million left on his deal, and he's declining. Don't even do that.
That would be a bad move.
No, but first off, Miami Sports, appreciate you commenting, brother. Appreciate the question too. He says, or get me Manny Machado. So trying the big names, but still, I agree. I appreciate the question, but for me, the more I think about it, I understand, especially when you listen, but I'd rather be buyers at the market. Let's add a couple pieces to this team. I know it's, we got that big slump, but I think Russ said it. Russ said it, I think, when I was coming back, about the excitement in the air, not just for, baseball, but for local fans and fans of the team that have, like, they're kind of like, come casuals. They don't really, they watch, but they don't really. But then you start to notice, and you're watching this team, and you see this team is having fun. You see the excitement, and you see how they win. And you talk about Xavier Edwards. Edwards is to me, like, whenever you need a guy on base, like he may not get you a home run, but he could get you a RBI. Like, he could get you that hit that you need. Like, every time he comes up, like, I feel good when he gets on the plate. Like, I'm like, damn, we're down by 2. There's a guy on base, which is probably going to be Otto. It's like, okay, Edwards is up, we're good. Edwards is up, we're gonna get a guy on base, or we're gonna get that batter in. So, I'm not discouraged, really. I wasn't expecting this team to be in a hunt or anything like that. I'm just enjoying the ride. I really am with the Marlins. So, let's continue this ball rolling here. Let's talk.
You noticed how quickly it moves. I mean, the Marlins were, before they went on the run, they were way out of it.
Yes.
In the blink of an eye, they turned it around. So, I mean, baseball you just get on a little run. Point. They were, 8.5 back for a long time, under 500. They turned it around quick. So it's just going to take, them. They're going through a slump. They get one game. Okay, now we start getting the feeling back. Guys start getting hits. It goes quick. So, I mean, like you saw before, they had that great June, and into July, they could turn it around quick. They have the players. Obviously, Max Meyer having or Mayer or whatever his last name.
I'm with you. I'm the same. I'm like Meyer or Mayer. I think.
I mean, he needs, once he gets healthy, they have a great staff when all healthy. But they're going through the slump right now. But 1 or 2 wins can change everything, and then the energy gets going and can turn around quick.
So I'll just say here, I know we're an hour in, and I appreciate everybody spending their Sunday afternoon or Sunday noon with us here, especially Miami Sports. And Miami Sports just took the words out of my mouth in regards of Miami Sports right now. We got college footballs coming up, pro footballs coming up. We got, the Dolphins coverage here on FTSN. We got some Cane stuff. We got college football coverage that's coming here. That's starting up season 2 of College Blitz, but it's reimagined College Blitz kickoff, where the guys will talk about the biggest games and the biggest storylines on Saturday morning. So, we all watch College Game Day and all that, but if you want to listen to some fans and just kind of, hear about the big games and stuff like that, make sure you subscribe to FTSN, Fitsock Sports Network. Of course, for Canes fans, Russ and the crew, they'll talk about the games, and especially there are going to be some big games for Canes fans this year. But we just talked about this, Russ and I, last week, I believe, about week 1 of college football. Holy crap, dude. What is it? Oh, is it Ohio versus Texas, Russ?
Yeah, so week 1's not too strong, but that week 2, it's like September 12th, I think it is, which is going to be like Ohio State, Texas, which will be, Arch and Julian Sane and, Jeremiah Smith, Cam Coleman. I mean, a lot of good NFL prospects on the table for that one for sure. There'll be some great games. Obviously, we'll talk Hurricanes. I know that's definitely a big selling point here on FTSN. But like, if it's Miami versus FAU. I'm like, that's really not a must-watch game.
No, but I'll tell you, for those for watching now, we appreciate everybody watching here at East Century Boys this Sunday afternoon. But again, make sure if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, hit that notifications bell. Saturday mornings, you can catch Russ and the crew on College Blitz Kickoff, and they'll begin all over the big, the big college storylines, Heisman chase, the big games, what's going on. They're going to talk about all that. So make sure you tune in. We appreciate that support. Also, of course, East 10th Street Boys will continue our Heat coverage, talk Dolphins. College pro football's about to start. So, Russ, the Jets fan, Dolphin fans over here, we got that. Of course, if you're a Dolphins fan, unless you're Uncle Joey, make sure you're watching our Fins Talk pregame and postgame shows on Sundays. And if you're a wrestling fan, of course, we got No Holds Barred Wrestling podcast, which we're discussing Dark Side of the Ring with the start I think it's called the Fall of TNA or something, the Battle for TNA, which is actually a really good program. If you ever seen Dark Side of the Ring, which is like a documentary style, Alex, even for, they talk old school wrestling, really cool stuff. But we got a lot of great stuff here on FTSN. So make sure you guys do subscribe. And I say, if you guys want something to watch on TV, there's a lot of good stuff on TV right now. But I'm going to tell you something. I actually texted Alex and he's like, dude, I'm already watching this with my son. I'm like, what are you watching that with your son? But still, it's good. No, but hey, The Hawk. You gotta watch The Hawk on Netflix. That's our recommendation. Alex, would you agree? That's a recommendation.
100%. I mean, I just finished watching Landman with my wife. We
watched
Landman, the 2 seasons because I hadn't watched them. I can't wait for the 3rd season. But I started watching.
You didn't watch season 3?
No, they haven't come. Hasn't come out. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he died, bro. Yeah, they got a new guy. Andy Garcia took over.
Andy Garcia. Which, by the way, that spin was really cool. For season 2. Oh, yes. Man, that was spoiler alert.
Let me just say, I'm an Andy Garcia mark, but she's been wrestling. I was like a big fan. Every time I see Andy Garcia, it's like family. It's like, oh, it's Andy Garcia.
He's such a natural actor, bro.
He was in he's in that new Kevin Hart movie. He pops up in there.
72.
And I'm like, yeah, and I was like, Andy Garcia. He's like a family member. Every time you see him, you gotta think about him. And it's so funny because you'll see. I'll talk to you after. Tell me when you watch that movie because he does Kevin Hart that when he gets on cocaine, I'm Antonio Montana, and he does his whole thing, his whole stick. So they think he's a drug lord in Miami, and so Andy Garcia's like, "Do I have that accent? Do you hear me having that accent?" It's a funny. I died, dude. But make sure The Hawk with Will Ferrell. I told Tati, I said this could have been a movie, and it could have done well. Like this kind of goes with Ricky Bobby and Ron Burgundy.
Anchorman, yes.
This is a great character. Russ, have you seen The Hawk yet?
I just finished The Hawk. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good.
I love me some Will Ferrell.
Yes.
I love me some Will Ferrell. I also I'm definitely I've watched all Will Ferrell's movies, and I wish they made comedies like they did back in the day. They don't really make them like that anymore. But also one I love, Semi-Pro.
Oh, it's amazing.
Which is kind of underrated, but I'm sorry, Jackie Moon.
I mean, has there been another actor that has made so many movies in regards to sports, like comedy movies in regards to sports, a variety of sports?
He was supposed to do that Lakers show that went to his friend. I'm forgetting John C. Riley.
John C. Riley, yeah.
The one with the Lakers.
That actually, I don't know if it ended the relationship per se, the professional
I know their relationship, but I know it ended his relationship with the guy who created it. I'm trying to remember it. But I'll say this, the show, if you guys seen it, great. If you haven't, whatever, I'm going to talk to the guys since they both saw it. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious. Molly Shannon is hilarious.
Amazing. She's awesome.
She's perfect. I think she's so funny. I'm gonna twist your day. He does. She has a bag of dicks. Like, oh my god.
And her and Will Ferrell have had so much chemistry in all the movies they've done. It's natural, bro.
It's easy. And the guy who plays his son, I knew he was bullshit. I was like, oh, he's a piece of shit. I knew it was gonna happen at the end the way it did. But I love when he goes.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it for me. I'm not there yet. Not there yet.
You didn't watch it?
I'm not there yet. I'm in episode 4.
You didn't see the end?
Okay.
No.
All right.
He died again.
He dies again.
He dies, man.
Sucks, bro. Right on the golf course on the 18th hole. Testicular cancer
on the golf course. No, but are you guys going to any of the Florida Panthers games, Bobby or Alex?
I don't know. I'm gonna try to go to a few if I can, but probably
If I
not
lived
too
in
many.
South Florida, I probably, I would say, but I can never guarantee anything. If I'm down there,
I mean, you
may
could go when they visit the Predators.
that I do. That I could say I will, because they have. I thought you just said Florida Panthers games in
Yeah.
Miami. But yes, I every year when they're here, I will go to a game when they're here in
Dude,
Nashville.
I wanted to ask you, man, because they're
Have you guys seen the new week?
proposing.
That's yes. I
That's the
did
one he's
last
talking
night.
about.
Yeah, I saw it last night, man. It's funny. It's funny. Kevin Hart is it's hilarious. Whale dicks and everything. It's a yeah. He has his face on top of that. I don't want to spoil. Just watch. It's hilarious.
I'll watch
dude.
it. I'm gonna watch it.
He
Hey,
has a
is Marcelo the guy who does Sebastian Maniscalco?
Yes.
Oh my God,
Yes.
that was
he's a funny.
unbelievable.
He's a little much. I'll say I don't like his character too much. He's kind of a little bitch, But sorry. But I like Marcelo. He's hilarious. But
but that's
you'll see what I'm talking about when you guys are watching him. You're like, yeah,
I'm gonna watch it today. I'm gonna watch it today.
But Kevin Hart, he makes he's just easy, dude. He makes it easy to laugh. Like he just the shit he does. But yeah, Antonio Montana. Like, and he goes, have you heard me?
I'm a Kevin Hart guy, but I like Kevin Hart's voiceover work.
Oh, he's funny. He's funny.
Like Secret Life of Pets. I know him.
That's amazing, dude.
Oh my, he is hilarious in that voiceover. I'm like, I know I'm older. I still love my cartoons.
Hey,
like
those are the best.
Animated,
Yeah,
they can't beat it. I'm like, it's
Invincible. You watch that. That's some legit. It's not funny, but Invincible is a great adult cartoon thing to watch. But has a lot of great voices, but not Kevin Hart. But I'm with you. Kevin Hart's just funny, dude. I love listening to Kevin Hart. He just makes it easy to laugh. But anyway, yes, I saw it. Miami Sports. It's hilarious. Better than I thought it was going to be. Marcelo was good. There's a lot of funny people, but watch the Hawk. And I'm the one who plays his caddy is so funny. I forget her name.
Oh,
Tati.
she's awesome, dude.
She's great.
She's
dude.
funny
She's
as
so
hell.
funny, dude. She reminds it's just funny. I don't want to put a name out there because
Yeah. Just,
but she reminds me of someone. But anyway,
what a
all
way
that
to
said and
go.
done. Say what?
Well, what a way to go.
Yeah, it's
Old Henry.
Old Henry. I just love how he says. He goes, he's fine. He's just it's hot. And then he goes and takes his watch, and then he goes to his wallet. He goes, this was my money. I loaned him this. I gave him this money, and he goes, okay, I'm gonna write that down. He goes $20. He goes, man, I see like $200. He goes, nah, man. He goes, bro, this is ridiculous. You're terrible. And then he just throws him out the furniture. I was dying. It's hilarious. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for.
Yeah, Bobby, Alex, just a quick question with the LeBron, really, because now
Yeah.
I'm here. I really want to get this with you on LeBron, and obviously everybody, the greatest ever. How are we putting his career in terms of one of the greatest evers? Because I'm sorry, like my one shot for LeBron to actually separate himself was 2009 when Kevin Garnett got hurt in Boston. That was his year to be like, all right, take over. And now we see LeBron. LeBron goes to Miami. He pairs up with Wade and Bosh. I don't care what you say. That wasn't his team. Just like when Kevin Durant went to Golden State, that was Steph Curry's team. I'm sorry, that was Wade's team. LeBron might be the big attraction. But, I mean, now we're seeing LeBron's career. He goes to places with superstars. How are we putting him up with even, like, say, a Kobe, obviously Michael Jordan, in my opinion? I know everybody's entitled to their own opinion, the greatest ever. How are we putting his career there? Because, I mean, you're looking at what he did in Miami. He wasn't winning a title in Cleveland without Kyrie Irving. The COVID, I don't care. I think my opinion on all the COVID titles is they're all asterisks, and basketball being the biggest one, because part of winning a championship is you have to deal with the surroundings, is you have to travel, you have to deal with the fans. They never did that. But in terms of his career being one of the greatest, and we're seeing, I mean, this guy goes from one place to the other, great teams. How are you guys stacking him up with the Jordan or with a Kobe or even a Magic?
Look, at this point, for the new generation, the Jordans, the Magic, unless you're like a basketball historian and like the Kareems and all that, you almost become like a folklore legend. Obviously, Michael Jordan is the top in regards to athlete wise. There might never be another athlete like Michael Jordan. But when you start breaking it down, and I know a lot of people use these arguments, oh, he's won with talent around. Does Jordan win without Pippen? Without Kerr, the role players that he had? Does Kobe win without Shaq? Without Paul Gasol? Does Kareem or Magic win without each other? Does Tim Duncan win without Ginobili and Kawhi Leonard and David Robinson? So like those arguments when it comes to championships, I don't like to have them because I think you need great players, you need talent to win, you need great coaching to win. So, but overall, the optics, he's a different basketball player in regards to he's more similar to Magic than he is to Jordan. Kobe is more similar to Jordan in that regards. Yep. But statistically, is he going to go down as the best basketball player of all times? Yeah, he will. Is his longevity, his specimen, who he is as an athlete? There's a lot of rumors with steroids, and I do believe he did take steroids when he was here in Miami. There's a lot of recovery issues here, and the NBA doesn't really test for steroids at that time, or still now. So that's always going to be a question mark, how he was able to stay healthy for such a long period of time. I do believe now in the last couple of years, there might be some nagging injuries that might hinder him this year and the next one, because no matter how fit you are, a 42 and a 43-year-old body with all that mileage is going to catch up to you eventually, some way, somehow. It could be, like I said, nagging. It could be minor. But I don't believe you can judge eras of basketball. Like, I'll throw it to you in regards, Russ, to like baseball. For some, Babe Ruth was the greatest baseball player of all times. Would Babe Ruth be who he is now than when he was before? No. They weren't throwing 110 miles per hour back then. There wasn't a training regimen that there is now. Now, you can argue that with the evolution of science, sports medicine, Babe Ruth could have been a better player. Or Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle could have translated into this era. So it's very difficult to have these narratives. And unfortunately, these are narratives that are brought up by national media reporters. There's that always debate. And what I love about it, they always shoot it down. Like Jordan and LeBron always shoot it down when it comes to the greatest. I believe there's greatest of eras. Okay. Now, I can hands down say that the best shooter of all time is Steph Curry. I could say that unequivocally, and no one has an argument for me in regards to that. I don't think there is an argument that can justify anybody being a better shooter than Steph Curry, but that's an absolute. But when you're talking about overall game, now what I'll say is the globalization of basketball is thanks to Michael Jordan. This is a global game because of Michael Jordan. Now, has LeBron James done that in regards to this modern era and the new, like the player type of empowerment, the change of the guard, the relationships that the NBA has with sports media, with media companies in regards to streaming services, negotiations for their contracts, player investments in themselves, where there's their portfolio. Now players are businessmen. They're just not basketball players. So it's different eras. But in regards to on the court, killer instinct, overall game on the line, I'm still going with Michael Jordan.
So I think it's a great question, because I saw recently someone put on Twitter, if LeBron wins a championship in Philly after he did it with the Lakers and Miami and Cleveland, there's no debate. He's the greatest of all time. And this. I understand the argument, and I think I side a little. I'm not going to say that the arguments solidify that he's not, but I don't think he is. I think he will be going like the greatest. You could say the greatest basketball in a total like packaged player, like athlete for sure, like physical specimen for sure. I mean, again, all-time leading scorer, 4 championships, 4 regular season MVPs. Michael Jordan. You don't have to be in that era to know that Michael Jordan is great. Just go back and watch all the stuff. In YouTube, NBA, you can see how Michael Jordan was a killer. Kobe Bryant is a killer. Love him or hate him, there's only very few players that are like that have that killer mentality that could just put it on. Kobe's the closest to Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. LeBron is going to go down as one of the greatest, if not second behind Michael, in my opinion. Does it hurt him that he's been on so many teams? Yes. And I think that's why part of it surprised me with the Philly. Like, to me, like if he would have said, okay, like you know, from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland to LA, right? Goes to the Lakers to play for the Lakers, who weren't that strong, weren't strong when he jumped. They built there, and you know, they won. And I agree, you know, you got, you know, as much as if Miami would have won, I'd still say that's a championship. It's still a championship that he won in LA. And he could always say, I won as a Laker, you know. But now you go to Philadelphia. Like if he would have went to Miami with Giannis, people could say, oh, you're just trying to chase. And you're gonna go, okay, sure. But still, he's been in Miami. He's done that. Like he's going to wrap up the story. Go to Cleveland. Cleveland's a decent roster, but then at least, you know, you still have a shot because the East is the East and strong, and Cleveland's a good team. But it would have made sense because then, you know, you're kind of like wrapping up your career. That's the end. But now you jump to a whole brand new team with players. Like you can't say, oh, he's going to Philly to play with Embiid, because Embiid's hardly there. Embiid can't stay healthy, and Embiid's a big time personality. You know, he went there because they brought in Jaylen Brown. So yes, the fans who already have doubts on LeBron James are going to have bigger doubts now to say, I don't think he's the greatest, because he has to go to these teams that have, you know, that he's chasing. He's chasing championships. I don't think anybody would not say, hey, he's one of the greats. He's absolutely one of the greatest, but he's not the greatest of all time. He's not. He's not a killer like Kobe. He doesn't have that ice in his veins. He's had it once in a while. I will say, you know, I agree. The Heat was always Wade's team. But when Wade said, hey, LeBron, you need to be the lead dog, you need to be the guy, like that's when they finally said, okay, they figured it out. I'm wondering if Jalen and LeBron are going to have that conversation. And then you're going to sit with Embiid in the background, Embiid, who, when healthy, and if he would have stayed healthy, probably would have been one of the best players in the NBA. It's going to have that conversation too. That's why I'm really doubtful about Philadelphia. Jaylen Brown is butthurt about what happened in Boston. And I've gone on the record to say that Boston doesn't win that championship without Jaylen Brown. Because Jason Tatum, as much as he wants to pretend that he's Kobe Bryant 2.0 and he wants to text Kobe Bryant's corpse, hey, buddy, this is for you, and all this shit, he's not. He's as cringe, you know, he's like LeBron. He's a great player, but he's not a killer. He needs help. And that's why this year is very important for Jason Tatum to prove that he could be better than that. He could scream and do all the, oh, this is it, you know, and have these pictures with the championship. He doesn't have those pictures or those moments that he created, all those cringe-worthy moments after he won the title, without Jaylen Brown. So Jaylen Brown believes that too. Jaylen Brown's like, you guys chose him over me. You guys are going to try to trade me. So he gets traded to Philly to be the lead dog. Now they bring in LeBron, and yeah, as a player, you're going to be ecstatic. You get to play with LeBron James. You grew up watching him. But when that time comes about, hey, who's going to be the main dog? That's going to be a question. And don't think that Embiid's not going to come around and go, wait, what about me? So that's going to come in out. Like, that's why Philly, when people say, oh, Philly is, oh, man, championship. It's like, you guys have been covering the NBA and sports. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Like, it's more than just paper. You can't just look at the roster and go, oh, that's a championship. Whatever. Like, these personalities are going to clash. And LeBron, it takes you a year. Like, people can thought, oh, it's going to take the Miami Heat a year to figure. No, it takes LeBron a year before he wins a championship. He doesn't win a championship in his first year. It takes him the second year. That's why he's a player option. And that's why I don't think it's his last decision, because when this shit blows up, because I think it will, that's when he may go back to Cleveland or figure out whatever the hell he's going to do. That's what I truly believe. So I think it's a great question by Russ. I would say LeBron in totality, in regards to like, oh, perfect player, like a player that you want in regards to specimen, he's your guy. Because he is one of the greatest, and you could have an argument that he's great. He's the greatest. Michael Jordan's the greatest. Michael Jordan could do it all. He's done it all. And you're right. The argument is, oh, but no guy could win by himself. That's 100% true. That's 100% true. But it's not hard to look and go, yeah, no, Michael Jordan, because Yeah, he had Pippen and he had Rodman and he had, Kerr and whatever.
That was homegrown.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And also the ice in his veins. Like Kobe Bryant.
Kerr, Rodman, and Ron Harper were signings also.
No, okay,
but still, they're not. But that's not going out and bringing in Kevin Love, and that's not going out and going to Kyrie, and that's not going out and going to get Anthony Davis, and you got. I need a superstar to win. No, those guys aren't those guys. But the difference being is that Michael Jordan had ice in his veins. Like when the game was on the line, that's an assassin. Kobe Bryant was that.
And I've gotten to argument being a guy from LA. I've gotten to arguments with Lakers fans over Kobe. I'm like, I'm sorry. Michael Jordan went through the toughest period to try to get to a title. Kobe didn't really have that. The West wasn't as strong. The West was San Antonio or Sacramento. He had to go through Boston. He had to go through the bad boys where he's getting absolutely pummeled.
And now that you say that, Russ, there was 2 years that the Lakers realistically probably shouldn't have even come out. 2000 was the Portland Trail Blazers. People forget about that Blazers team. That Blazers team.
I was watching that. I was like, young. I was probably 10 or 11, but like just the bricks
and the Kings, that fat fourth quarter where they started calling ghost fouls in Game 7. That right there, that was one of my favorite teams. The Mike Bibbies, Peja Stojakovic, Hedo Turkoglu, a very young Hedo Turkoglu, Corliss Williamson. That was Bobby Jackson off the bench. Like you had a squad there, so it was competitive. Oh, Vladdy and Weber. Those teams were fun, man. But that Portland team, I thought that Portland team was going to be.
They went cold. They choked. They couldn't make free throw. I was watching that, and that's old Scottie Pippen still doing his thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
they were comparing that. I saw the comparison of Scottie Pippen joining the Blazers in 2000 as LeBron James joining the Sixers in regards to that starting unit. But that team, the Blazers, were a way more balanced team. They have more depth. They had great coaching with Adelman. So that city, and Rasheed Wallace was a stud at that time. People forget about Rasheed Wallace. He was the first big man like that to step outside of the three-point range and just let it fly.
Well, my favorite Rasheed Wallace quote of all time is, because obviously we know Sheed gets his text, and they call a foul and literally misses the first one, and the ref goes, Rasheed, don't say it.
Don't lie.
Don't lie. Just boom. He's just like, he's over there foaming. He's like, oh, it's coming. Now he's like, no, don't.
I love Sheed. Sheed is one of those players that I always wanted to play for the Heat, and it never happened. It's like, but he's a perfect Heat player, bro.
And I will be on record saying, in 2010, if my man Kendrick Perkins doesn't get hurt for Game 7, the Boston Celtics would have won in 2010.
Yeah.
They would have won the title in 2010. And that haunts me still that the Lakers won in 2010. But once he got hurt, there was no big man who could get a rebound with that. I mean, it was a good team. But Pau Gasol literally changed that.
Oh, yeah. He changed the dynamic.
He changed that team because they were a middling in the West in 2008 when they made it. And then they traded and got Gasol and turn them into a contender. Mm-hmm. But I was that when he went down, it was terrible. And then they traded Perk the next year, which was
for Jeff Green.
Jeff Green, and I can't even remember the other guy because he was so useless. Jeff Green was the biggest bum I've ever seen. I hated Jeff Green. But I'm with you. I love that Trailblazers team. I loved watching the Spurs.
The Jailblazers. That documentary came out this year.
I loved watching that Spurs team. I loved that Sacramento Kings team with Bibby. Actually, when Bibby was in Sacramento, his dad, Henry Bibby, was the coach at USC. And I went through a couple of his camps. They didn't talk. True. They didn't talk.
Oh, man.
So it was like they literally did not speak to each other. But it was, as much as I hate Kobe because I'm a Celtics fan and I hate the Lakers, the guys, he was on another level.
Oh, he was a natural, man.
He was a killer. And I mean, I love Tatum. I think Tatum's going to have a big year, but he's not. It takes another level to be on that Kobe or Jordan. You got to have data. Either LeBron doesn't have that mindset, where it's just, there's too much. And I'm with you. There's too much love in the NBA. I look at like Kevin Garnett. I'm like, hey, yeah, we'll be boys like later, but right now, F you. I'm playing you. I'm going to
kill you.
Now It's like, we'll dap each other up. And I'm like, no, I want to kill you right now.
We'll rip your what?
What? What's going on?
What? Grab his balls and twist it. What? Anyway, great conversation, man. Great talking points, guys. Let's see here. Make sure we get everyone DSG. Too much cash on the line nowadays. Jordan would be team hopping too in this modern era.
Dolphins should still sign Aaron Rodgers.
Misfit. That was Russ Morgan. We appreciate
Russ Morgan.
Piece of shit.
Thanks for joining us, Russ. Appreciate it.
It's funny. I just saw somebody wrote Reggie Miller and just talking about old players and teams.
Oh yeah, shooting wise.
The other day, my son was like, "I want to watch a game. He wanted to watch a Dolphins game, but it's like they didn't have it on there, and I'm not letting them on YouTube right now." So I was like, "Well, I can't do that." So I said, I tried looking, and actually, Peacock has an NBA, and they have like old classic games, and he actually watched that Reggie Miller game, the comeback.
Oh,
and he was excited. He was hyped. The next day he woke up. When I told him, "What'd you think?" Because he was going to bed watching it. He's like, "Dad, it was amazing." I go, "You watched the whole thing?" He goes, "I watched the whole thing."
Bro,
he was
show him the T-Mac one against was it San Antonio? I think it was San Antonio. Show him the T-Mac comeback against San Antonio. 13 points and like.
So you gotta watch these guys. Don't you worry, but there's only a couple guys you look at. You watch this game and just sit back and watch it. They have a Lakers game too on there. A couple Lakers games with Shaq when Shaq did some stuff. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, but anyway, as we wrap it up, guys, I appreciate everybody who's joined us today here on this Sunday afternoon edition of East 10th Street Boys. Appreciate Russ taking the time to come on and talk. LeBron going to Philly, some Heat talk. We talked movies and TV, and of course that final LeBron topic. Very cool. Alex, any final thoughts for wrap this one up?
Man, just watching, waiting. Let's see how it plays out. I'm excited to join Russ this Wednesday so we could talk some MLB trade deadline. So what I love about I'm more of a spectator there. So I'm just listening to an expertise. I don't even got to talk a lot. I just got to listen. So I'm excited for that, bro. And obviously, me and you, I don't know if we'll be on Wednesday or again a weekend, but I'll see you during the week, my brother. I love you, man.
Sir.
Russ, see you Wednesday, buddy.
Russ, final thoughts?
Yeah, great to be on. Great to talk some NBA, a little Marlins, a little Heat. Just talk some sports, talk some TV shows. Make sure if you like baseball, tune in Wednesday for On Deck when I got my boy Alex. He's going to be joining me. Finn Sammy's going to be on. And Josh Wingate's going to be on too. So it'll be a great trade deadline
all-star
show.
Crew.
7:30 Eastern.
Nice. Well, there you go. I appreciate Miss Finn's. Go subscribe to Miss Finn's. Dolphin season's coming up, so you don't want to miss the Miss Finn's channel there. DSG, of course. You saw. Make sure you saw 305 Sports Now. Go subscribe there for great Canes content and Miami sports content. Adrian Rainey Day Podcast. Finn's TV starts back up on Tuesday. If you have not seen that trailer yet for the new season, go check that out on Twitter. I should be live. I may more than likely be live Tuesday for the continuation of the Knowles Bard Wrestling Podcast coverage of the TNA series for Dark Side of the Ring. So make sure you tune that. Join me for that show. Even if you don't like wrestling, it's my birthday. Don't be rude.
That's right.
Show some love, you pricks. No, I appreciate you all. Anyway, guys, I hope you have an amazing Sunday. That's Russ Morgan. That's Alex. I'm Bobby. Like, subscribe, and have a great day, Miami. Peace.
Bobby L. Gringo's in the house. Straight out of Hialeah, no doubt. East 10th Street, where we play out. Here we bring the Miami crowd. Alex, the boy with the D. Step into rhythm, feel the heat. Street vibes mixing with the Latin tree. In our flow, the two worlds